Alrighty. Alright. Green on. Good morning, chili dogs. What you focus on grows. Feed them horses. We got 3 more pots for you guys today. I'm going to get over there in just a second. The clay is a little bit soft. I didn't prep clay, so I tried to find the hardest bag that I could, which was not very hard, and I'm going to be throwing with that. So pots are probably going to be a little bit more wide than tall today, so just let you guys know. But I'll check you guys over there in a second. Green off. Oh, I gotta bring over the Instagram cam. The Instagram cam gotta go over here. There we go. Okie dokie. Wedging table. Alright, so we got a couple of these. Pretty soft. You can see I barely push on it. I like when it has a little bit of a, it's like almost like it's fighting you a little bit, right? Alright. Pottery shelf. Push on there just a little bit. A little bit of water. And again, those 2 lanes of traffic. And bring that up. We're going to bring it up, and then we're going to go right back down after this up, because it's not fully, well, the clay, I can feel there's some like weird ripping happening already in that middle. So I'm going to bring it down to find that bottom rim, and then get ready to bring this up. Hopefully we do a better job of bringing it up this time, right? And you gotta remember, throwing is all like it's like a staircase, right? And so if you are, if you stumble on one of the earlier steps, right, it's gonna show later on, right? There we go. Go slow on this bottom edge here. It's going to start getting a little bit wonky, but speed that up as you get up. There you go. Pour that on the top just a little bit. The clay is really soft, so it's going to look really nice and plastic right now. What are we making? Always making trees. Every day I make some trees. Alright. Go right back down. Bring this up just a tad. So the clay is kind of all warmed up now. So my fist is coming down. Bring down the hammer fist. You're always going to feel that clay. Keep that palm tight to that clay there. And you're going to feel as you're pushing down, you're going to feel the clay kind of nest right into that palm, right? And that's how you're going to get it on centered. A lot of this work and the coning and centering stage is all done with this left hand here, right? Sitting still, but it's doing the most work. Opening this up. Check for any rabbits in there. There's a little bit of rabbits in there, okay. Open this up. Push some of this clay. Again, we're going really, really thin on this bottom. Somebody says hello, hello, how you doing? round off this edge here. Alright, get ready for your llama pole. Camera B. Camera B. And you're trying to make a volcano here, right? That's your goal. It's always a lot easier to control that clay when you have that rim kind of tight, right? Get right down to the bottom edge here. There's going to be a natural taper to the clay. And so you're not going to have a point where the rim is way thicker than the base, right? Usually that adds way too much tension. I'm going to bring this up. I'm not very patient. Alright, right down on the interior there. Some water. So you're going to push this little bump down, right? And now you're just looking for the bump. You ask the clay, hey clay, you got a quest? The clay says, yes, we got a quest. Gives us this little bump. That's where my interior fingers are, right? They're right in this little bump. I'm going to loosen up as I get to the top because I can feel the clay is a little bit thinner, right? And so use your hands. Your hands are your mouth, right? And that's how you talk to the clay, right? It's like you're plugging a data cable into the clay and it's talking to you, right? It's literally, it's talking to you, right? And so you got to have that conversation with it. And that's what throwing is, right? It's responding to material. So you go right down to the bottom again. Again, you ask that clay for that little bump. And I'm transitioning my fingers more towards 6 o'clock. And look how drastic that bump is right now, right? Like a slug, crawling up to find his next meal. Slowly tapering those out where I'm going thin, so you can see that bump sort of diminishing as I'm going up. Slowing down. Got to the top. Great. Alright. Also, I feel like my shoulder, what's this, my right shoulder, feels weird today. I feel like there's like a little ant in between the bones crawling around. Okay, right at the bottom. Just make sure they're even. Okay, great. And we're going to do one more little push right in this middle because that's where we want it to collapse. Right? Going right down on this top edge here. Add some more water right on this rim. Pause, kiss the rim. You can see it wanting to twist up in that middle because it's thinner there, right? And so it's going to want to twist where it's the thinnest, right? And so that's how it winds right up when you put that tension right on that top, right? Right down to this bottom edge here. Go right to this bottom. Pump this up. You can hear some of the air bubbles underneath there. A little water. Take your little pinky underneath. When I look at this, I see tendrils for some reason, so I think I'm going to do a double tendril here. Okay. You're going to grab this little tendril, you're going to curl this up. The key with the tendril is you don't want to do too much, right? When you try to place them too much, they end up looking a little bit too forced, right? You almost want them to look like they're growing. This one to me feels a little bit too forced. So you'll see that in a second. All right. Let's see if we can get a better one on this one here. You only get one shot with these, right? I always think the less you touch something, the better it will turn out, because you're not allowing your quick impulses to dictate too much. There you go. You have less opportunity for it to want to kind of get all messed up, right? So opening this right on this bottom edge here, grab the sponge, smooth this out. Great, all right. Camera A. Camera A. All right. I'm gonna go right over here, so that's number one. All right. All right, wedging table. So you got number one over there. Someone said this is relaxing, better than watching someone drink and cry. Are you in the presence of somebody drinking and crying right now? So funny. All right. Taking that off. All right. Next channel over. Interesting. All right. Wheel. Gonna do a little slow-mo. Push that in. A little bit of water. Pop this up. And bring this down. Right back to the bottom. Bring this up. Bring it down. And then we're gonna go up for a final time here. Really using that one hand to do a majority of the work, right? Remember those 2 lanes of traffic. Pottery shelf. Okay, we got one more to go. You gotta be slow on the bottom. You're gonna see that top try to get off centered, but just project that bottom hand forward. When you get up, get it back on center and spin faster. There you go. You got it up, right? And take that up, curl that top, bring that in just a little bit. And wherever this is starting to get wobbly, that's where you're going to pitch your hand. Oh, come on. Oh, no. There we go. Sorry, the clay's a little bit soft. OZ06MS Leo. You and like 500 other people in my comment section. I feel like you guys, all the people in my comment section and you should all hang out. How much clay are you throwing with? Probably about like, I take a bag of 25 pounds and I split it up into 4 sections, right? Are they even sections? No. So anywhere from about 4 to 5 pounds maybe. Someone's saying something in a language I don't understand, but thank you for commenting. Wow, I'm grateful. I've never seen you screw that up. Yeah, sometimes I do screw that up. You know, the clay is really, really soft right now, and so when you set a little bit of tension on there, it's actually wanting to move rather than fight against you, right? And so that's why I like a little bit harder clay, because it wants to fight with you, right? All right, opening this up on this bottom edge here, using my fingers, cutting along that bottom, right? Almost using my fingers like a knife or like a water jet cutter, right? A lot of people try to move all this clay, right? Especially when you work with more and more amounts of clay, right? Like once you get to like the 7 or 8 pounds, so, you know, that's some weight to move with just your hands as it's spinning, right? And so I always say that, imagine it's like a layer of a cake, You take that bottom layer of that cake and you cut across that bottom layer. The top 2 layers of that cake are just going to go along with you, right? Round that up. Someone says hello, hello. But yeah, probably around 4 pounds. You know, you're going to grab your llama. All right, camera B. Camera B. Grab your llama, right? He's going to bite right on that rim. And these 2 hands, again, those 2 lanes of traffic coming right across each other. Slowly, that llama, you know what that llama's favorite thing in the world is? Volcanoes, right? So now you got a volcano. Why are we doing the volcano? Always because we want the walls to be even, right? And we want a slight taper towards the top. So if they're even now, as I'm bringing this out wider, you can see I already brought it out wider. There's less clay here than there is on the bottom. Some problems start happening when you have way more thickness on the top. Then it can't support the tension that you're using to pull that clay on the top, and you end up ripping it right in the middle, right? So you want that gentle taper. All right, I'm gonna call this in just a little bit. With pottery, has anyone really been far, even as decided to go, what to do look more like what? I feel like I just don't know English. Hold on. I don't know what the song is. It's a playlist, right? And it just says like, it's like, I let the YouTube algorithm choose my music most of the time, right? And so I'll just pick a random playlist, and so I just start looking up playlists, right? And then I just click like on them, and then I get more playlists, and then all of a sudden I will, what's the word? Get a bunch of them on there, and I'll just save more of them, and then I'll just pick a random one, whatever one I think is a good vibe for that day, right? A little bit of water. I'm going to start collaring this in because I can feel that the clay is wanting to battle against me, so I'm going to collar this in. And a collar should feel like a pole, guys, right? Right down in the middle. And so look how much height we're getting out of this collar here. On that rim, you can see it's a little bit uneven, right? Has a Silent Hill vibe to it, for sure. You ever needle off the undulations on the top? No. You know, a lot of times people, you'll see most of that will go away here in a second. But a lot of people, like they view the chunk of clay as very disposable, right? Like it doesn't matter because you're trying to get to the object, right? But I like to use every chunk of this clay, right? You can see it's a little bit more even on the top now, right? And so that goes to show you, right, when you bring things closer in, it shows all the inconsistencies. When you bring them out, right, a little bit, you can't see those as much, right? Also, a good pole can really help you out. But no, I don't needle it off because I always think that potters love to take things away from their objects, but I like to view a lot of that stuff as potential, right? You'll see in a second, this won't even look anywhere close to what it is right now in a second. A bit of water right on this bottom edge. Separate this off. All right, time to ruin it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're just going to make sure they're even. All right. Get ready to twist this up. And it's going to twist where it's weaker, right? So you'll see it's going to twist. Just pop this out just a little bit. Kiss that rim just a tad. There we go, we got a nice little tree. Push this down. And again, this one looks like it wants to be a tendril as well, but we'll see. Get a little bit of water on this bottom edge. Bring this out just a tad again. Nice. Okay, grab this. And so it's starting to tear, so you're going to see it totally dip down on one side, so it's a little bit too thin. Let's see, any tears? Maybe not. You might see it though. A little bit of water right on my pinky. Pull this up. 9. Okay. Sin, skip. It's an odd number, so I'm not going to have a great petals here, but we'll try our best. Look at that. So we got some petals on the thing now. Go right underneath. You're really looking for an even to get petals, so usually when I do odd, I try to force a petal or I try to push it in a different direction. But here's number 2, so we're going to stop the wheel. All right. Camera A. Is it wedging table? Got the second one here. Great. Yeah, see the interiors of them maybe? You can kind of see some of the spiral. I really like that radial pattern in the inside there. It has good vibes. What's the plan for these 900 trees? You're running out of floor space. Yeah, my whole, my upstairs spare bedroom is totally, there's no furniture. It's all pots, the whole floor. The dining room, I took all the furniture out of the dining room. I don't even have a table to eat on upstairs, right? I got rid of that. And my living room is full of pots, and in all my cabinets I have pots. I even made, as a joke, I made a bunch of pottery silverware, like spoons and forks, but I haven't glazed them yet, but the goal is to get rid of that and make like a funny video of everything being pottery. And then I have pottery all in the hallway. Oftentimes I end up kicking over my cups and breaking them, so there's a bunch of shards of glass there. But what am I doing with them? Just keep making. I'll figure it out. I'm almost at a year of making every single day. That's in like July 17th or 14th, something like that. But I don't think I'm going to stop at that point, but I'm going to make a cool video, and I might do some other things. But I still think I want to make these trees. The more and more I make them, the more I realize that every once in a while I'll become surprised, right? And so instead of like trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them, I'd rather just make them until I exhaust the idea, you know? All right, pottery shelf. Right down to the bottom again. Maybe I'll do a gallery with them. I actually have a really big idea, but I need to get more technologically sound before I do that idea. So it's going to rip on this middle part. That bottom is already tearing, so I'm going to actually bring this down right away. Somebody's giving me some emojis. Somebody say I'm slacking. Okay. Right down to this bottom edge. Push down a little bit. We're actually going to bring this back up, peel it up like an onion. Bring this up. You want to make sure you don't create a little hole in here to trap water, right? So I'm going to open this up just a tad, bring this down, and really try to make that top rounded again, right? So you don't trap any water in there. Again, go right down to the bottom, add some more water. Imagine those two lanes of traffic going by each other. As you get thinner, you're going to need to speed up your wheel. My wheel only goes so fast, right? Right, and this is where you could probably stop if you wanted, but I think I got one more. So you're going to go very slow, right again on that base. And you're going to see that top's getting a little bit wonky. Project that bottom hand, that left hand forward and out. Spin faster, get to the top, recenter everything, and there you go, right? And the key for this part is tilting this clay, right? Because if you're pushing that clay, you know, where there's no clay underneath of it, you can see how it just slowly wants to be glided right down. you can't get to your kiln. Well, I live in an apartment, so I'm not even allowed to use the kiln. I don't even have a hookup for it. So just kiln that a very nice woman gave me as a donating it to me, and I just haven't used it. So just kind of sad, but right now it's acting as a shelf for some other trees, and there's some other things in it, so it's being used as a really weird bin. Storage compartment. Fist right on that top edge there. Slowly bring this out towards your palm. Someday for sure, you know, but hopefully by that point, my goal in my life is to have a little barn that has like all sorts of electricity and hookup and computer and camera setup, and a giant, if you know the kiln company Blau, I want a giant Blau kiln. They're like the Ferrari of kilns. They're like $20,000. But they're an electric gas kiln, right? So they're programmable gas kilns. They're literally amazing. I got to use it for a really long time, and now that I don't have it, I really miss that, right? Yeah. Really, really awesome kilns. A lot of people struggle with reduction. Yeah, controlled atmosphere. Yeah, some people struggle getting like really nice reduction, but I think some of my most beautiful pots came from finally getting some reduction. Out of 10 firings, you know, I was doing different, yeah, there's limiters on the oxygen control though. But I also think it's sometimes, what I was assuming is that if you are heating it up too fast and it can't get that temperature, but you're limiting the oxygen, right, in the kiln, right, it bypasses what you have it set, so then it can reach that temperature, in turn oxidizing the flame. Right, so that's kind of what my thought was, why I was having a problem with it. But when I really packed the kiln tight and very evenly and dense, I was getting really, really beautiful reduction. Some of my most beautiful pots I've made in the past couple years are from that kiln. Again, we're smoothing this out. All right, get ready to do your llama pole. Shaking a little bit on us. Just being careful here. This is getting kind of like not water. You can see it's just kind of like clay slip right now. So we're gonna dump this in. Some more water. Okay. I like when it feels like water. I do not like when it feels like clay. All right. Start spinning a little bit more. All right, camera B. Camera B, you're gonna take your little llama. Llama, he sees the clay. He's like, smells like mold. And then he's gonna bite right on that rim. And then he's gonna slowly, you know, the llamas, you know what llamas are crazy about? Llamas are crazy about volcanoes. They just love volcanoes. They just go ballistic over these volcanoes, man. So you're gonna make your volcano. You're gonna grab some water on the inside, open that up. What the heck did I just throw in there? A hard chunk of maybe something on the side. So I want to get this out before I even start throwing, because that's danger zone right there. How does that feel? Where did that even come from? So again, we're gonna round that off. That's kind of dangerous. I see what you did there. With the little chunk. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe it came off from my pants or something, I don't know. But again, taking your little knuckle, you're finding that little bump, you're slowly walking that up, right? People call it a pole. I think the word lift is better suited. I see what you did there. Llamas love volcanoes. Ah, yes. I think that llamas come from a place where they're around volcanoes, maybe. I can't really remember. Maybe they don't come from there, but for some reason I feel like they're associated. Again, to find this little bump. Loosen that pressure when you get up. Great. We're going to call this in just a little bit. Somebody said hello, good morning to you. Push this in. Great. Again, you're going to go right down to the bottom. That's the clay. Hey clay, you got a quest? The clay always has a quest for us, and it's the same quest every time. Let's find this little bump. Once we have that defined on the bottom, right? Now you can cruise, right? Slow down because I can start feeling that tension wobble at that bottom. See, these are the moments where you really need to talk with the clay. What is the clay allowing you to do? And always keep an eye on that bottom edge, right? And there you go. Yeah, oh, Ryan, trust me. I feel like I don't really understand all the inappropriate jokes, but I had like one of my videos. It's not a really good video. It's actually probably one of my worst videos. It went not viral, but it got like 3.2 million views or whatever, and like 90% of the comments I felt were like inappropriate comments. But it's pottery. But I learned that the thing that you can't have is you can't allow what people say to you disturb or enter in your CPU of your mind, right? As soon as that stuff starts taking up space and actually controlling what you do, right, then you've lost, right? So you got to just keep doing your thing no matter what. It doesn't really matter what people say. You know your intention with it, so I just don't even pay attention to those comments. Sometimes they're funny, though. Like, you'll be like just going through and you like don't understand it, and all of a sudden something will pop up and it'll just make you giggle quick. So I feel like that's fine. So I have this one. It's kind of a little bit obnoxious right there. There we go. That's so satisfying. Thank you. How do you feel about marching bands? Some of my students are in marching bands. I see a lot of marching, like really interesting marching bands in Japan. I'll be online sometimes and I'll just see these kids in this marching band and they just like are popping off. And I'm like, dang, dude. It's pretty amazing. They have the whole dancing. I don't kind of fall like that, but hopefully, fall on this edge here. I would kind of like to have it totally collapse here. And so that's all we're going to do. Just stick our finger right underneath there. We don't want to alter it too much, but we just want that to kind of nest right on that rim. One way listening to Lemon Bucket Orchestra. I don't know what Lemon Bucket is, but if they have stringed instruments, that'd be awesome. I feel like there's not enough stringed instruments in marching bands, which makes sense. But yeah, some of my students are in a marching band. They go to like different marching band things. They actually go to band camp, which is interesting. It's primal since certain forms are essentially for the function process, even if it looks like a ding dong. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, I went to art school, so you can only imagine what people come up and say about a lot of my work, especially when I'm throwing. I feel like everybody would always say it looked phallic, and I'm like, all right, bro, that's fine. How did you end up with this tree form being your thing? You know, it took me a long time to find this form. It didn't really just start with this form. I have a whole entire history. I was making mugs. I was just a mug cup maker for the longest time, and that's all I did. And slowly I had different generations. Every single time I threw something, I tried to, change something up. And slowly you can actually see the delineations from the mugs to get to this form. It's a conglomeration of a lot of different forms that I was making over the past couple years. And so for me, it's all about moving along this train, right? Like, I call these things parallel projects. I'm sure people have heard me talk about this before, but if you keep your ideas very simple, all right, so this series is all about getting height, right? What are all the variations that I can get, or what are all the processes I can do to get maximum height? Okay, now what about like throwing really, really small necks and trying to get that shoulder, right? Or creating contrast in the pot, or how do I create pattern, or how do I create pots that don't look like they're like wheel thrown, even though this is wheel thrown. Like this twist in the middle was trying to get rid of that very perfect center, right? And so I did a whole series of different ways to make these weird patterns in the center there on mugs. So it all started with mugs and cups. And parallel projects is all about taking all those ideas, keeping them simple enough so that eventually they can be pushed together to create something that's realized, or like maybe like a level 2 idea, right? And so that's how it all started with the trees, right? And then about a year ago almost now, I just told myself, what if I'm so excited to make this video, because there's a video where I'm like, what if I just sit down and make trees every day for a whole year? You know, like I had that thought very early on when I was making the YouTube stuff, and then I just did it. Like, oh man, I'm so excited for that. You love, all right, those veins are looking lovely. It's like gypsy punk with brass. Interesting. I love pole lines. Yeah, the lines, you can actually see the lines on this are actually really nice, right? There's first the veins, but then there's the throwing lines themselves. A lot of people use a wooden tool to get rid of those lines on the side of your pots. Come on, like for me, like I love those lines. It's a complete reflection of what you are doing during the pull. Why get rid of it? That is literally you, right? That's you doing that. And so for me, I always kind of like seeing the lines in the pots. Somebody said marching bands are dope. Yeah, I agree. They're really interesting, especially that you're doing all that. You're doing the performance while you're holding like some crazy heavy instrument, or you're trying to keep rhythm while you're walking. I feel like once you get in the flow of a marching band, it must feel like amazing, right? Especially when all these other people are also in flow with you. I'm sure it's got to be like one of those like heart racing moments. Somebody says they're a drum major. Do you know the drum called an udu? Or no? I keep watching videos. It's basically essentially a ceramic pot that they're using the air inside the pot to make the noise, right? Kind of sounds like a boom sound sometimes. Someone said amen to maybe I said earlier. Someone's playing in Hamtramck. Yeah, I feel like they're always doing Hamtramck. Seems like it's one of those towns that's really popping off. Like there always seems like there's creative stuff going on. All right, so right on this edge here, roll it around. Somebody had a message redacted. I don't know why. Curlies up. Right underneath that top there. Remember, we're trying to not force these too much, right? I always like when these kind of look like they're holding up something, right? Look at this one. This one right here. Look at that one, guys. That one's really nice. That looks awesome. Keep it up, brother man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna curl this in. A little bit of water right on this edge. And those are the 3 for today. We got one of them, the second one is like fully collapsed now, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. Kind of let them do their thing, for sure. I really want to show off this nice little twist here. All right, camera A. Camera A. All right, let's investigate these pots here in a second. So let's first get this on there. I just want to look and see. Oh, I love the way that you can see that just kind of curled up right on there. Maybe we'll do this one second. Kind of like the way that this one looks here. I think that looks okay. We're gonna get the third one. On the top here, this is the one that's kind of tearing, but we'll show you, yesterday we showed you the side that's dipping towards us. This time we'll show you the side that's pushed away, right? I think this kind of looks interesting, so. Really a quite interesting little set here. I think there's some good energy coming from these pots. And I think I gotta push this down, right? Yeah, I think that looks great. All right, so we're gonna go over here. All righty. Green on. Green on. Hello everybody, we're back again with another pottery review. We're gonna start over here with this one. This is the one that we just finished. There's a really nice lean to this pot. I feel like sometimes you can't let them lean too much or they'll collapse, obviously, but a little bit of lean just seems to separate itself from the idea of centrifugal force just a little bit, but visually there's a lot of indicators that that's still the case, but I still think that that lean pushes it off center just so slightly where it's distancing itself from the wheel, right? I think that's kind of an interesting moment. I also like the way this little tendril kind of curls up right underneath the chin of the pot there, doing something quite nice. I have another tendril. I did a double tendril on this one, so there's really functioning as appendages on here. You know, I'm not a big fan of the actual form itself, but I think the twist is kind of nice, and I went a little bit wide on the top, not too much, but I think it's more of a basic pot, but really allowing those appendages to sort of have a little bit of a conversation with the form there. And then we got the one on the top. I think it's kind of interesting. Yesterday I showed you the one where it's turned around, it's dipping towards you so you can see the interior, but I think I quite like when you can see the underside of that treetop, right? And so that's what I'm kind of showing off on this top one here. I did have petals on the top there, but anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. All the best and strong mentality. No way. This one just collapsed. You guys get to see this one. Yeah, of course. I'm glad I could hang out with you guys today. But look, that one collapsed. It's a dead pot. But I'll keep the ones that are collapsed. Sometimes they look pretty interesting. So it's kind of funny that right when it closed, though, that thing collapsed. But pretty interesting. I'll read the comments one last time and then I'm gonna head out here, guys. Somebody said, thanks, I needed this. Hey, I'm glad I could give you something like that. Yeah, I do like the sagginess of that pot though before it fell. Amazing job. Ah, thanks. We saw it collapse? Okay. Wow, that's gonna be interesting to see it right as it collapsed. Your content is high for high quality. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day. Ah, that's very kind of you. I'll see you guys around in the next one. I'll see you tomorrow. All right.